Birmingham is an elite rarity light cruiser from the Eagle Union and is part of the Cleveland class of light cruisers. Birmingham is only available from light construction at a timer of 1 hour and 25 minutes, though she was previously only available during the limited Ashen Simulacrum event banner. Birmingham was launched from the Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company on the 20th of March 1942, commissioned on the 29th of January 1943, decommissioned on the 2nd of January 1947, stricken on the 1st of March 1959, and sold for scrap on the 12th of November 1959. Burr did the usual tasks an American light cruiser did in the Second World War. Here are her more interesting exploits. Was commanded by Captain John E. Wilkes. Escorted part of the invasion force which was participating in Operation Husky, the Allied invasion of Sicily. While patrolling the waters southwest of Empress Augusta Bay, alongside her sister ship the USS Mobile, among others, fought against a Japanese aerial attack force. She was hit by an Aichi D-3A Valves bomb after she shot it down. The bomb skipped on the water and hit her rear right section, opening a 4.6 meter wide hole which destroyed her aircraft hangar. Immediately after, another plane hit Burr with a torpedo on her front left, which blew open a 9.1 meter hole, flooding 2 of her fuel oil compartments. Another Val went to attack Burr and was shot down, but not before its bomb hit turret number 4. In total, 2 men were killed and 32 wounded. Received the nickname Old Faithful while getting temporary repairs at Florida Island due to how Burr created geysers of water. Covered USS Canberra and USS Houston while they retreated. After USS Princeton was hit by a Yokosuka D-4Y dive bomber, which caused a large amount of damage and multiple fires, Burr, USS Gatling, Morrison, and USS Irwin attempted to assist in the damage mitigation. Gatling, Morrison, and Irwin, all destroyers, had to back off due to repeated collisions with Princeton. Burr stepped up since her larger hull allowed her to better absorb the collisions. Despite their efforts, the fires eventually reached Princeton's rear magazine, causing a huge explosion which destroyed much of her rear, and killed 233, seriously injured 211, and lightly wounded 215 of Burr's crew, over half of her crew of 1,300. Princeton was scuttled by Reno and Irwin, while Burr retreated, putting out her own fires caused by the explosion. While bombarding Naha, a Nakajima Ki-43 Hayabusa kamikaze plane crashed into the right side of Burr, coming in at such a steep angle that only the 20mm AA guns could fire at it. The blast of the kamikaze destroyed her sickbay, penetrated 3 deck levels, and tore a hole in her waterline. It killed 52 and wounded 82. In her character art drawn by Pavapo, Birmingham wears a navy blue and white tunic with a shoulderless white poncho that has blue accents, a navy blue hairband that has an anchor on it, 2 red hair clips, short black gloves, panty strings that are visible in the gaps at the bottom of her tunic, black thigh highs with metal bands at the top and zippers, and armored white and red boots. Her rigging is the exact same as her Cleveland-class sisters, that being the split ship hulls with wooden decks and gray and white paint on the side of the hulls that flank her sides, 2 double-barrel naval cannons to her right, 2 triple-barrel naval cannons, 2 50 cal machine guns, a crane, and a flight deck to her left. In her voice lines, voiced by Sayumi Watabe, Burr is extremely devoted to making the sea secure once again.
クリーブランド級軽巡バーミンガム。本日より配属になった。この海の明日のために全力で尽くす。指揮官、何卒ご指導とご鞭撻を。クリーブランド級軽巡洋艦バーミンガム。かの大戦で生まれた私は、数多くの同型艦たちと共に戦い抜き、バトルスターを9個手に入れた。海上の騎士として、これからも、この海のために戦い続ける。軽巡として、強大な戦力になり得ずとも、この海を守れるだけの力は、この身に宿っていると確信している。私がいつも張り詰めているって、 お察しの通りだが、この海を覆う闇を振り払うには、それだけの努力が必要だ。塵も積もれば山となる。いつかは委託の有用さを知ることになる。いつか、再び穏やかになった海を、この目で見届けられれば、前に進むには必要な強化だ。プリンストン、無事でいて。あの時は、私がもっと頑張れていたら。クリーブランド姉貴たちがそばにいると安心する。これが、絆かもしれない。
At level 125 with max affinity and enhancements, Burr has 4,285 HP, 170 firepower, 334 AA, 188 reload, 111 evasion, light armor, 32 speed, 174 accuracy, 48 luck, 100 anti-sub, and consumes 10 oil. Burr has 2 skills and an AoA, with these skills focusing on reducing damage taken by herself and the flagship. Burr's first skill, Tenacious Knight of the Sea, at level 10, when Burr's afloat in the fleet, the duration of burning is reduced on herself and the flagship by 3 seconds. When an enemy plane is shot down, I'm assuming in general and not specifically by Burr, Burr gets plus 15% firepower and AA for 8 seconds. This buff doesn't stack. Generic burns last for 15.1 seconds, meaning that this skill reduces it to 12.1 seconds. With the buff and no equipment, Burr would have 196 firepower and 384 AA. Her second skill, Resolute Knight of the Sea, at level 10, when Burr takes damage, there's a 10% chance that her evasion is increased by plus 40% for 5 seconds, with the evasion buff having an 8-second cooldown. Once per battle, when Burr's HP falls under 30%, she evades all attacks for 5 seconds. With the buff and no equipment, Burr would have 155 evasion. Her AoA looks like this. Being procced every 10 times, Burr fires her main guns. The shells travel in a straight line, so you're able to focus on one enemy or spread it out to multiple enemies depending if you're moving or not. The recommended equipment for Birmingham is the exact same as her Cleveland-class sisters. The quad 152mm MGM for the CL gun with the highest DPS, the twin 100mm Type 98 Kai for the best general use DD auxiliary that can break shields quickly, the twin 57mm L60 Bofors for the best general use AA gun, the repair toolkit for passive healing and survivability, the high perf steering gear for a buff to evasion and the chance to dodge all attacks, and the crossbow for a buff to firepower and AA, as well as reducing the damage taken from planes. Overall, Birmingham is much like her sister, Columbia, in the sense that while she's decent, has good skills, good stats, etc., there's not only better ships out there, some of her sister ships, specifically Montpellier, are considerably better. Her skills allow her to take a reasonable amount of damage, more than the average light cruiser off-tank, as well as temporarily buffing her firepower/AA or evasion stats. Not to mention the ability to evade all attacks and reduce the burning effect on both herself and the flagship. It's quite apparent she's made to work with Princeton, as Princeton's second skill, Extinguishing Gale, is centered around having Birmingham in her fleet, especially with all the burn damage or burn duration reduction going on with the skills. Her S1 is alright, as I mentioned, but the only permanent effect is the burn reduction, which isn't really a pro or con, but like 99% of the time you can just ride it out, and if you don't want to ride it out, there's always the fire extinguisher that just puts it out pretty quickly. While the decent firepower AA buff is only for 8 seconds. Her S2 suffers from the same thing that all Cleveland-class ships' S2 suffer from insofar, that being based around chance. A 10% chance, unlike the usual 50% with the AA mode skill. Not to mention, it only rolling that 1 in 10 die when Burr takes damage. The second half of the skill isn't any better, as she needs to be near death just for it to proc, and it's only once per battle. You really don't want to keep your ships near death just for, 5 seconds of dodging all attacks, when most battles last more than 5 seconds? Overall, Birmingham is alright, but nothing special. You can easily use her until around, I don't know, maybe chapter 8 to 10, but you'll realistically have replaced her by then with someone much better, like Montpellier. Thank you for watching. Please follow my Twitter for updates, and please check out my other Arc Knights and Girls Frontline videos as well.